It's 8 a.m. on Thursday, June 27th, 2024. And I left the wire up because I had, when I set up this area last night, I had doubts in my head. My chief concern was that there wasn't enough grass to feed the cows. I moved them kind of early, so they needed more grass than they normally would get for an evening move. And so I went home not feeling right. You know what I mean? It's like you think you've done something wrong, but you're not really sure. So I left the wire up so I can look at the situation and make a good determination of whether I did the wrong thing or not. And just looking at it this way, I don't see any evidence of overgrazing. In fact, I feel like my row is too big. There's a lot of grass they could have eaten, probably should have eaten, and they haven't. This area is very full of bermudagrass. The western part of my field typically is. There's hardly any Dallas grass over here. There's bits of goat weed every once in a while. Not really that much. But, you know, I'm looking up and down. I was especially looking down, and I'm not seeing any evidence of overgrazing. So I could have given them less area and it would have been just fine. It's about 78, 79 degrees right now, 80% humidity, and there's a breeze blowing from the east, so it's kind of nice today. It's actually cooler outside the house than it is inside because we keep our house at 80 degrees. Anything less than it's cold for us because we're trying to adapt our bodies to the heat so that when we step outside we don't get a thermal shock, you know, and we can actually think when we're outside rather than feel like we're in an oven. And the truth is you know, with the fan or a ceiling fan or a box fan, as long as the temperatures aren't too high, you can easily cool off, you know. So my pattern is I go home and sit down in front of the fan and you know, just relax for a few minutes to get my body temperature back to normal. Anyway, so yeah, this area is full of Bermuda grass. I'm not seeing any Dallas grass. I am not seeing any at all. And I think that's one of the reasons why I felt like there wasn't a lot of forage. This might be Dallas grass right here, so I'm seeing a little bit of Dallas grass. But the Dallas grass hasn't grown up. It hasn't put the seed heads on or anything like that. The last animals that were here were the sheep, and that was at least 3 or 4 weeks ago. I'm not entirely sure when they were here, but it's been at least 21 days. And I'm not concerned about the quantity of forage or the quality. I think the cows will do just fine. The last video I put out, one of the questions I had was whether I'm pushing them too hard in the heat or whether they need shade. Now this is the nearest tree. There's a tree at the end of the row as well, but those are hundreds of feet away, and eventually I have to go there anyway, and I don't want them to stay more than 3 days on a piece of ground. Otherwise I risk the overgrazing the ground. I also risk parasites, so I don't want to leave cows with access to more than the same spot of ground for more than 3 days. This is a good example. I was thinking about this on the way here, and there's this concept of good, better, best, right? Like there's things that are good and there's things that are better than that, and then there's some ideal like best. And one of the questions I often ask myself is like, what is the best? Is Bermuda grass the best grass for this climate for my cows? Is there something better? Should I kill all the Bermuda grass and replace it with something else, right? Maybe there's a variety of Bermuda grass that, you know, I can replace the Bermuda grass, like a subspecies or, you know, a breed of the grass or something like that, you know. Regardless, questions like that are often not valuable. They don't actually render good results. If you're pursuing the ideal and you're hurting yourself in the process, it's probably not the best thing in the world to do that. So while we have ideals and we have that kind of the pinnacle of what we want to achieve, if we're pushing ourselves too hard to get there or making bad decisions to get there, then maybe it's better not to pursue that ideal, right? So another thought that I had is, what's the worst? Well, probably the worst situation for my pasture, I can't think of anything worse than bare ground, right? So that's the thing that I want to avoid at all costs. If I come to my ranch and it's bare ground, then I can't have any cows or sheep or anything else. And I have to sell all the animals, and I have to stop doing what I'm doing until we get something growing, right? And part of the reason for that is that the grass provides forage for the cows, of course. And so if I don't have any grass or any forage for the animals, I can't have animals, you know, while there could be something in the ground growing. But also the way that nature works is that she has these pioneer plants, you know, these pioneer things that will claim bare ground, okay? And while those pioneer plants are not ideal, absolutely not what you're looking for, it's better than bare ground, right? And so when I see a scene like this bare ground covered with goat weed, and I imagine I'll come back in a couple weeks, it'll be 4 feet tall, and there won't be a thing growing underneath it, maybe a little bit of grass here and there, right? While I look at that, and I could say like, oh, this is not the best because I should have grass growing to feed the cows, and it's not even really good because there's not forage there for the cows, and that means I can't have as many animals, especially if large sections of my pasture look like this. But the weeds are good because it's helping nature restore or bring, create an environment where grasses can grow, or maybe another species of weed will grow and then the grass can grow, right? So this is just a spot where we had the water trough last time the cows were here. And the cows, because of the wet, they trampled the ground. It basically killed the grass. Not completely, but enough that the grass doesn't grow well here, and it probably won't grow here for at least a season, if not two. And so seeing a scene like this, you know, might make me think that I'm doing something wrong, or that I'm not able to actually, you know, grow feed for the cows. But I know that underneath the ground, there's a whole bunch of things happening that are extremely good, and might even be the best possible thing for this piece of ground, right? And the most important thing is that mycorrhizal fungi. Those funguses that grow underground provide a network where nutrients can be transferred from the soil into the plants, and also from plant to plant. And it also helps to let the water penetrate the soil so that plants can put deep roots down. You know, there's a symbiotic relationship there between the bacteria, the funguses, and everything else going on. Even the insects, there's tiny insects down there, you know, digesting different things and, you know, excreting manure of one sort or another. And it's all part of the process to take dead dirt, just minerals, and turn it into soil that has, you know, the capability of sustaining life and creating life, you know. So I was thinking about, if I came to my pasture in June, or let's say July or August, and it's covered in goat weed, would I say I'm a failure, I should give this up, I can't do it because I want a pasture full of grass and I've got a pasture full of goat weed? Or should I say this is how nature is going to restore the balance and revitalize the soil so that we can have lots of grass, right? At the very least, having ground cover prevents the moisture from leaving the soil and helps the soil trap moisture. And that in and of itself is an extremely good thing, because moisture is the key to life. Moisture, carbon dioxide, and sunlight. That's the recipe. All right, guys, you have a great day. Take care and bye-bye.